Secret Lair is at it again. We have a huge drop coming this summer. For the next month, we have 8 different Secret Lairs dropping on Monday. The all-natural, totally refreshing super drop. Let's talk about these. Are they a good buy? And spoiler alert, for the most part, they really are. Steven with Magic Metal Money, thanks for tuning in. We're gonna talk about each individual drop, but as a whole, there is a lot of value. A couple of them are not, but most of these you are getting well more than $30 worth of cards for your 30 bucks. And then the foil versions, I mean, we're talking about some cards that are really, really difficult to get foil. So now you have a foil option versus the original printing foil. That's just tough. There is so much value packed into this super drop. First up is Saturday Morning D&D. So with the Dungeons & Dragons hybrid magic set coming out in just over a month, they're really pumping out the hype for this set. And now we've got a Secret Lair already with these Saturday Morning D&D cartoon, 1983. This is a real cartoon. It had 3 seasons. It's got an 8 out of 10 on IMDb. I imagine that's kind of a biased rating because who on earth is going to watch that show 30 years after it came out? Probably people who want to watch it and are going to give it a good rating no matter what. But regardless, this is a real cartoon, and the value here, this one, not through the roof, but you're getting Primal Vigor, and that alone pays for the set, right? So all of these are 30 bucks and $40 for the foil. That's flat for all 8 of these drops. This one's got Primal Vigor. You got a $35 card right there. Then you throw in, Commander Sphere, Hero's Downfall, all the fun art. This is Impact Tremors, a couple other cards. This is just good value. Next up is one I'm really excited about, the Mark Poole drop. Now this is just awesome. I love the idea here that they're giving some alternate arts and some original arts because it is Mark Poole, the OG. He's been around forever. He's done just beautiful cards. So like the Birds of Paradise is just the OG art, new frame, which, for me, obviously you could see what I rep. I love the OG art with the old frame, but still cool as an option. And when's the Birds of Paradise become a $10, $12 card? Like, when did that happen? I thought that was like $4 or $5. But Birds of Paradise is a $10, $12 card. You got Howling Mine, a $5 card. Then you have Counterbalance or Counterspell, which has been a couple bucks since it was spoiled. These will drop again, I'm sure. But now that it's modern legal, everyone's saying Counterspell is a $2, $3 card, whatever. But then you also get Wasteland. Are you kidding me? Wasteland? And Birds of Paradise and Howling Mine, like this is just so much value for $30. Wastelands are at least 35 bucks, and now you just get a Wasteland plus all this other stuff for 30 bucks. I'm really surprised at how much value they're packing into some of these, and just wait until later in the video when we talk about the Praetor one. That one's absurd, but this is like $50 worth of cards for $30. Like if you were to go out and buy the equivalents. Now I know the release of these, obviously it's going to cause some of the prices to drop, but we're just talking about like as of release. That's what it is. This is like $50 worth of cards. Why would you not buy the Secret Lair if you're looking for, definitely the Wasteland or any of these other cards? And notice the flavor text and the art of the Wasteland. It is fantastic that it destroyed a library of Alexandria. That is super cool. Love it for being just an OG old card. Fun. Next up is special guest Fiona Staples. We have a lot of value packed into this one as well, but spread out through different cards. We don't have a $30, $35 card right here, but we do have a lot of $5, $10, and $15 cards to make it all add up to be really good value. Probably like $40 worth of value. You got your Dryad of Elysian Groves, $15 card, Soulscar Mage, $10 cards, Spell Queller, $5 card. So Metallic Mimic, like a $10, $12 card. And then, you got the Elder, Secure Tribe Elder in there as well, 50 cents or whatever, $1. But this one, it's tougher to buy this one if you don't really, because it's just a hodgepodge of cards. Like none of these go in the same deck. There's no theme, right? The theme is the artist. So this is an interesting buy because you're like, hey, I got my mono red prowess deck or whatever. So you want these Soulscar mages, and then you have all these other cards, and maybe you also have like a ramp deck. So then that's the kind of thing that goes along is you have Dryad and Secure Tribe Elder. But other than that, these are 4 different decks across 5 cards. So that's a little tough. But as far as value, the value is there. It's just, do you actually want all of the cards versus just, hey, I'm just going to get 4 of these Soulscar Mages for, 40 bucks instead of sending 30 bucks to get all these cards I don't really want. But you got trade value, and obviously if you do have a lot of different decks in Command or whatever, you can find a place for these. If you can find a place for, 3 of the 4 expensive cards, then yeah, I mean, it seems like a great buy just for that reason alone. Special guest Jen Bartel. This one is kind of the opposite of the last one, where all the value is in 1 card of Bloom Tender. So hey, if you want Bloom Tender, if you're looking to buy that card anyway, it's a $35 card. Well, if you like the special art, full art version of it, you can get this one for 30 bucks and get 3 other cards along with it as well. So that's just solid value very targeted towards one card. And that's what's interesting about these, is they're not all the same, the way they're designed, the way the cards are collected. So if you want a Bloom Tender, this is a great buy. If you don't have any desire to have a Blue Tender, well, you're just getting a bunch of cheap cards that have special art for 30 bucks, and doesn't really seem worth it to me. Except for the Meteor Golem. That thing's just sweet. It's beautiful. $10, $20 card by itself. Phyrexian Praetor Complete Edition. I don't understand this. This is mind-boggling to me. What did they do here? So when this was first spoiled, I made a video about it like a month ago. There's a lot of value here. So I was like, okay, maybe they'll do 5 different drops, and you get, the Praetor of the color with some other cards around it to get you the value. These are all $30, $35 cards by themselves, the normal versions, not the red one or the black one. Red one is 10, black one's 15. But 2 days ago, before this was announced, if you were going to go buy all 5 Praetors, it was going to cost you $120, $130. And these are all packaged together for $30? Like, honestly, I think this was a mistake. I think what happened here was that over the last 6 months, as they've been thinking about this, and hey, we're going to put the Praetors into Historic, and how's this going to work with Arena, and let's do a Secret Lair with them, and there's just a lot going on, a lot of moving pieces in a big corporation. Like, you got to think in the mind of big, slow-moving corporations with lots of pieces and memos and people working from home and incomplete communication, just errors happen. I think this was a mistake, and by the time they figured it all out, they were like, you know what, we just got to put these in the next super drop, and we just got to get through them and move on to the next one, because we got to get these out in paper. Because again, I have a theory, this is signaling that maybe they're going to move Historic to a paper format and not just make it the Arena Eternal format. I don't know if they would want to do that or not, but this points that they would, to say, hey, get yourself the Arena cards and the paper ones, because this is the only one of these super drops that all 8 drops is the only one that has any type of digital redemption. There's no digital art, there's no MTGO, there's no alternate art cards, no Arena cards, there's no Arena sleeves, except for this one. This is the one that says, hey, we're bridging the gap between Arena and paper. So all you people who are new to Magic, who are new to it through just Arena and haven't played in paper yet, start buying your paper collections too. So that is a possibility, and maybe that's why they just maybe that's why they have so much value here, just to sell everyone on it. Or it was just a mistake. I'm leaning towards it was a mistake, and they meant to package this differently, and they missed some deadlines, and then they were like, all right, forget the old deadlines, let's put this in the summer super drop. That's my theory. But it's also possible they're just like, hey, let's just make such a crazy good deal that you'd be insane not to buy these, even if you don't play paper Magic, thus to get people to start buying paper who have never bought before. I think this Secret Lair specifically, very targeted towards new to Magic Arena only players, bridging them into buying the game in paper and getting the fun gathering part of Magic and playing in person. You'd be insane not to buy these. If you want one of them, just freaking go buy these. And I know with the release of these, there's no way that Vorinclex is still a $40 card, $35 card. Like, it just can't be. It's going to have to drop, for the old original version. It's even the same art. They didn't even do different art. They just did the Phyrexian version, which everyone thinks is cooler anyway. So the card, I know the price of all those other ones, the OG versions, are going to drop, but these are still expensive, powerful cards. They're the Praetors, and once the market absorbs all these, a year or two from now, the Praetors are going to be expensive again. They're all going to be $20, maybe even up to $30 again in a couple of years. So if you want Praetors, you better buy these. Mother's Day 2021, beautiful Mothers of Runes variants. Now, Mothers of Runes is not actually the most expensive card. It's been printed a lot. It's not reserve list or anything, even though it's like a legacy staple, I guess, or it's a main card in Legacy. Sometimes you think of those really old cards as being really expensive. It's not. It's like a $5, $6 card. So here you're getting like $20, $24 worth of cards for $30. This is like one of the few that don't come in automatic at that above $30 threshold. So here is saying, hey, this is one where you better love the art and the alternate versions. And maybe these do hold a premium, and maybe they're $8 a pop, but then you bought these for $30 and now you're spending, you're getting $32 worth of value. So not anything huge or crazy, but the art is absolutely stunning. All 4 of these are gorgeous. I don't know which one I like best. It's hard to decide. Sometimes I think it's one, then I look and think it's the other. These are beautiful cards. The value, a little bit underwhelming here. Now, sometimes that does mean that fewer of these get bought, and then the special premium arts hold an extra high premium because there is a smaller supply out there. You think of like the Thalias, the Thalia Secret Lair. It wasn't like, oh my gosh, there's so much value here, but it was 4 cool pieces of art, and then I don't think a lot of people bought them. And that's why you see the Thalia Secret Lair being like $70 or whatever it's at right now, because there's just not a big enough supply versus some of the more obvious ones where it's so much value that everyone's buying these and everyone's buying extras of them because there's extra value. And so there's just a lot more out there than original purchases who actually people buying them, putting them into their collections right away. And so maybe these things do hold a premium in the long run. You just never know. Bit of a roll of the dice with this one. And that's really the same point with these last 2 Secret Lair drops, the Frazier Signets. They're absolutely gorgeous. It bugs me that they did these into 2 different drops. Like, they should have they did the enemies and the allies. Signets aren't expensive. They've been printed a million times. Now, these are gorgeous. They're old retro frame brown artifacts. We've seen how successful retro frames are. People love them. I love them. I'm a huge fan of OG retro frame cards. Brown artifacts, way better than silver artifacts. So I'm not, I just, why didn't they put all of these together? Like, Signets are like 50 cents, maybe, they're a couple bucks for like the rarest versions of these. These ones are definitely going to be, they're probably going to be $5 cards right off the bat and stay that way. They could easily be more than that, but, the fact that anyone can go and buy these, I just don't know. I frankly don't know. It would be sweet if you could get all 10 of these for $30, but the fact that you're getting only 5 of them for $30, is the premium art really going to hold that much? Like Mother of Runes, at least it was like, hey, this is, a $6 card. These are 50-cent cards, maybe $1. We'll just say $1. So you're getting $5 worth of value as far as the actual like alternate options of this card, and you're paying $30 for it. That's really extreme. Like 6x for the fancy versions. I'm not so sure. Now, when it comes to buying all these bad boys, what are we gonna do? If you want all these, you can get a complete collection of them for $200 for the regular versions instead of $240. So that's a big 20% savings. Like, if you just love most of these and you're saying, hey, I want almost all of them but not quite all of them, well, you can just, instead of spending $180 to get 6 of them, you could just spend an extra $20 and get the other 2 that you don't want. So if you're interested in all of these, the bundles are absolutely the way to go. Same thing with foil. The foil, it's $270 instead of $320, total price of all of them added together. That's only a 16% savings. It's still solid, it's just no 20%. But then if you're willing to get all of them together, so 16 of these Secret Lairs, so 8 regular, 8 foil, then that's going to be $444 rather than if you were to add up the price of those individually, total of $560. So you're back to that 20% discount. Trust me on the math. So again, if you're a big fan of most of these and you're saying, hey, take my freaking money, I just want you to have my money and I want all these fancy alternate art versions, if you're up for most of them, probably worth it to spend the extra couple bucks to get all the extras. You're going to get the full case or the full set. If you're already interested and planning to buy, 5 or 6 of these anyway, it's worth the extra few bucks to get yourself the fancier version, in my opinion, because you have that trade value and whatever. If you're looking to invest in these things, say, hey, I'm going to buy a bunch of these and stick them under my bed. Well, one major good news for that is the reduced space these are going to take up because they've redoing the packaging, and the packaging is like 50% of the volume that it used to be. So that's good because these things used to take up a lot of space. You buy 10 of these things and they're just taking up a whole chunk of space. So they're half the size. That's good news. As far as value and long-term version or long-term increase, I don't know. The tough part, and no one knows obviously, but the real tough part about these is that so many of these are so packed full of value that you're like, oh, I just want to buy them all, get the 20% discount right up front, and then sit on them all. But you're also getting kind of stuck with some product that isn't going to have the same potential growth. Like, even if the Mothers of Runes, it's a good chance that those don't maybe they do. Maybe they go to 50, 60, 70 bucks over the next couple of years, but maybe they just sit flat and they finally in 2 years go from 30 to 40 bucks. Well, you got stuck with those ones because you bought the whole package. So it's interesting that if you're wanting to buy the whole package, you're not getting the full extreme value worth of cards that you would, and that's in some of these individual ones that have 40, 50, 60, $120 worth of cards in one. But I still think it's worth it. I think the 20% upfront discount is worth it, even if that means you're stuck with some product that isn't going to necessarily grow. And the biggest reason is because it lets you automatically diversify. Like again, if you're saying, hey, I'm a big believer in 3 or 4 of these, and I'm going to buy, I'm going to put $1,000 into these Secret Lairs. I'm going to put that $1,000 into 3 or 4 of them. Well, just get yourself a 20% discount and diversify, because you can't predict the future. And if you look at Secret Lairs overall, most of them have gone up over time. A lot of them that were $30 are anywhere between $50 and $70 now. But you don't know which ones, and some of them surprise you, and some don't have the same growth as others, and some stay flat. I mean, the Mountain Go, the Lightning Bolt ones, they're barely reaching $40 now. So between both the 20% discount and the diversification that you get by buying the bundles, if you're looking to buy these and sit on them, I'm 100% saying just go for the bundles. Don't bet all in on 3 or 4 of them and buy multiple copies of those and leave out on others while you're paying full price for those versus the 20% discount. That's what I would do. But you know what? No one knows what the future can hold, and maybe the 3 or 4 that you're most interested in are going to be the ones that have the most growth, and so you're going to get the best return on your bang for your buck, even paying full retail price on those. You just don't know. That's what makes this so fun and exciting, is because you can't predict the future, and maybe these all go to 0 in 2 years. Who knows? We'll see you next time.